Hello and welcome to VCC TV. Today we have with us Dr. Om Manchanda, the Chief Executive Officer of Dr. Lal PathLabs. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. You joined Dr. Lal PathLabs in 2005, and in 2008 you appointed the CEO. And in 2015 we all know that Dr. Lal PathLabs had a blockbuster IPO and a listing. So want to understand, to what extent do you think you have met the targets that you had set out to achieve back then?
See, we never looked at 10-year time frame, but we definitely looked at 5 year at a time. So this journey began in 2005. So the first sort of a milestone that achieved was 2010. Initially when we started in 2005, we had one private equity investor. So then in 2010 we had two investors. So we started thinking of IPO sometime around 2011 and 12. So far it's been on plans, but basically broken into two plans, which is 2 5-year plans.
So Dr. Lal PathLabs is mostly concentrated in the northern region, and you are making inroads in the east. So what is the game plan to crack the other regions, particularly the south and the west?
See, our presence is north and east predominantly is by design, because we have followed the path of being organic player. And driving organic growth means you have to focus on smaller geography rather than spreading yourself too thin. So we started our journey in Delhi and then slowly expanded to north, and then later on started seeding these markets in East India and Central India. So we continue to grow strongly in these markets. However, our strategy is to keep on seeding new cities. So the next target is going to be West and South India, where we have picked up two large cities. One is Pune, another is Bengaluru, where we've started making significant investment to drive consumer-facing business.
Could you please elaborate on the number of centers that you are going to open and investment amount that you've earmarked for investment in the south and the west?
So it is not earmarked especially for South and West, but on an all-India basis, currently we have infrastructure of one central lab, which is in Delhi. We plan to open 2 more central labs.
Okay.
For both the labs, the work has already commenced. In fact, Kolkata central lab will come up first, and third one is going to come in Lucknow. So in total, probably 2 years from now, we will have 3 central labs. One we already have in Delhi, and 2 more, one in Calcutta and Lucknow in that sequence. In addition to this central lab infrastructure, we do open a lot of satellite labs. We currently have 171 if you take our central lab. On an average, our track record has been about 15 to 20 satellite labs we open every year.
Okay.
So each lab will take about 75 lakhs to a crore. So, and plus other maintenance capex. So we will invest about 35 to 40 crore only on expanding our network.
Okay.
In addition to that, whatever gets spent on Kolkata and Lucknow will be added on to this capital expenditure.
How aggressively will you look at expanding in the overseas region?
See, in the past we have not been that aggressive in international markets, mainly because we have a huge opportunity at home itself in India. So in terms of priority, I would say international markets is number 2 priority for me.
Okay. So how much does the international business contribute to the company's revenue at the moment?
It's not very large. It's about 1.5% of the total turnover.
So any other countries that you're looking at the moment?
See, our main focus is South Asia, especially Bangladesh and Nepal.
Okay.
But we get business from Dubai, we get business from Oman, Qatar, or some parts of Africa as well.
What about acquisitions in different regions in India?
So in addition to the strategy of organic growth, which I just mentioned to you, we are also looking at 2 more segments.
Okay.
One is hospital lab management and third is acquisitions. Now, this industry is highly fragmented. There are a large number of labs spread across the country. So in addition to organic, it does present an opportunity for us to acquire smaller labs and aggregate that into a large business. But the challenge sometimes we face is that first of all these labs are too small and second, some of these labs governance standards are not that as high as we would expect. But having said that, this is an opportunity and we will continue to pursue that.
So in FY16 you did a 20% revenue growth.
Yes.
What is the target for FY17?
We haven't given any formal guidance to the market.
Okay.
Our growth in the last 3 years, CAGR has been about 20%.
All right.
And the growth market is growing at about 16 to 17%.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you really want to know what our ambition would be, definitely we want to beat the market growth.
And do you think you'll be able to maintain it given regional players are also being funded by PE and VCs?
I think post this IPO, you have seen one has seen a lot of activity in this space. So competition in any case was always there, but it's going to get a little more aggressive with the entry of private equity players. But we believe that is going to help the industry, because once the private equity investments come into the space, it overall lifts the quality standards, governance standards, and I do believe that it will create a level playing field.
And we understand that you have premium pricing and volume growth is going to be the main driver of revenue. So do you think that's going to constrain your growth?
Premium pricing is only to the extent what patients are willing to pay to switch from a local lab to a branded lab. And we have found out, so our pricing is not national in nature. So whenever you go to a city, we do have about 10 to 15% premium over local benchmarks. So I think once you give that kind of quality standards to the patients or consumers, they are willing to pay that 10 to 15% premium. So we don't want to get completely outpriced in the market. We know that we are up against small labs.
The margins have been in the range of 26 to 27%. Do you think that's sustainable in the long run?
Yeah, so we have mentioned in our various road shows that there will be a short-term dip in the market. So we've already seen this year about a % dip. And I believe that depending on when these new labs come up, depending on the OPEX, there could be about 1 to 2% dip. But going forward as the scale picks up, we hope to come back. I think 25-26% is a stable margin rate one can expect.
So is there a plan to relook at your business strategy, which is mainly B2C? I'm asking this because we talked to Thyrocare and they're mostly B2B, and they said that because they are B2B, their margins are higher.
So I won't comment on the competitor company you mentioned.
Okay.
But however, our strategy is very clear. We want to focus on walk-in patients. Mm-hmm. We believe that if you build a consumer-facing brand, the decision or to come to our facility has been taken by the patient, has been taken by the consumer. And that business is very sticky in nature. It also provides us an opportunity to engage with that customer on a long-term basis. So it's not a transactional model, it can become an engagement model.
And how about moving beyond core diagnostics and then just starting radiology chain in some markets?
We thought about this, though from a market perspective, from a customer perspective, definitely there's a need for both the businesses to be together. But financially and operationally, they are very different businesses. Because in radiology is high capital expenditure business compared to pathology, which is very asset-light. However, having said that, we actually have basic radiology in many of our centers, not CT MRI.
Okay. And is there any plan to get into specialized diagnostics? And if there is, will that trigger some bolt-on acquisitions?
See, specialized diagnostics, I don't know what you mean by that. If you're referring to molecular diagnostics or cytogenetics, some of these areas, we already have these businesses in our portfolio. And we continue to focus on high-end tests because we believe these tests are very important for us to stay at the cutting edge of pathology. These businesses are also very important for us to earn a strong brand equity amongst medical fraternity. So our focus on these high-end tests will continue to be there.
So will that trigger some bolt-on acquisitions?
I can't comment right now, but yes, there are certain, especially genetic-based companies, startups are coming in. We will see as we go along.
Talking about startups, there are a lot of healthcare technology startups that are coming out. Is there any plan to partner with them, or have you been doing that?
I think we are eagerly waiting and watching as to how this landscape would emerge. I think I'll have to wait and watch. But having looked at the entire field of digital technology revolution that's happening, we are building in-house capability of launching our own apps.
What about challenges for the industry, and how can they be overcome?
There are 2-3 broad challenges. I think, as you rightly picked it up, now the competition is going to get aggressive. So there is a massive sort of expansion that everybody will try to do. I think there is going to be a talent crunch. So both medical, technical manpower as well as leadership talent. I think that's going to be one big challenge for us. Second is, as we expand into new geography, so we'll have to also watch out for both cost structure as well as how much we expand into new geography versus can we do partnership with other labs. So in the process, operational complexity will grow. So I think 2 challenges which I see: one is operational complexity, other is talent pressure.
It was a pleasure talking to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.